not a good governor. And they've been able to use other people's experiences and the outlier experience of, right, the COVID lockdowns, which nobody really expected that to happen. And that's really what they use as, their talking points to say, oh, he's such a great governor. Well, is he? Right now, we have the highest homeowner insurance rates in the entire country. The average rate is about $1,700 nationally. And in Florida, it's $6,000 or more. Okay. Wow. And after this year, it's expected to jump another 40 to 60%. We have some of the highest utility bills in the entire country as well, which have increased over 20% in the last year. And that's all because Ron DeSantis accepted millions of dollars of campaign donations from the utility companies like FPL, that's Florida Power and Light, as well as the insurance companies. And he actually allowed for the insurance industry to participate in writing the insurance bill that made it so that homeowners in Florida can't really sue anymore, right? They can't really sue for fraud. And so what you have now is this massive homeowner insurance crisis, and it's unaffordable. People can't even afford their homeowner insurance rates, which is costing more than their mortgages. And you're going to see a market crash in Florida, similar to what we saw in 2008. And I believe, and I predict, and a lot of people are predicting this as well, that it's going to trigger a national housing market crash. And what's going to happen to all those people who move to Florida thinking, oh, I'm going to escape communism? They're not even able to afford the homes that they're now living in.
Is it because there's so much natural disaster danger for like hurricanes and floods and stuff that the insurance is just out of control?
Yes, but at the same time, right? Rick Scott had this under control. The insurance crisis has severely worsened under Ron DeSantis's term as governor, and insurance rates have quadrupled under Ron DeSantis's leadership since he's been governor since 2019.
They made it so the homeowners couldn't sue the insurance companies.
Yeah, so you can pull up the bill. It might be helpful, Tim, if you pull this up. And I actually wrote a Substack article about this, and it was posted by President Trump. I don't know the exact number, but just type in special session Florida insurance bill. And there were these different measures because they had argued that the reason why the rates were so expensive is because there were frivolous lawsuits. And so what happened is the lobbyists, right? We have a state insurer of last resort in the state of Florida called Citizens Insurance. The CEO of that company was also the lobbyist who was participating in writing this legislation and pushing it forward. And what they wanted is they wanted it so that homeowners in Florida were not able to sue if they discovered that their insurance carrier was engaging in fraudulent activity. And you could really make the argument that given the fact that these companies are insolvent, and Governor DeSantis himself has recently admitted that Citizens Insurance, which is the insurer of last resort, right? That's where people try to go and get insurance if their insurance carrier drops them. And we're now seeing a lot of these insurance carriers leave the state of Florida. Well, they're insolvent. How are they able to pay out claims? What's the point of people paying, right, their insurance premiums if these companies are not even going to be able to fulfill their claims? So you could make the argument that that's a fraudulent business practice. And we see this now in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian from the hurricane last year. If you go to Southwest Florida and you fly above, you'll see just a sea of blue tarps because so many people, right, have been abandoned. They talked about it on TV, right? Because it was great press for Ron DeSantis getting reelected as governor. But those people have not had their insurance claims fulfilled or paid out. So there's going to be a homelessness crisis.
It sounds like they're trying to stop a downward spiral or an expiration of the insurance company. If they can't make the payments out, then the people want to sue them because they couldn't make the payments. That would make them, they have to pay lawsuits that they can't afford. Is there like a way to appeal to the federal government to bail these Floridians out that don't have homes? I mean, they're Americans first, and then they're Floridians. What about the federal government involved? What about the people in Hawaii? I mean, it's a similar situation. If a natural disaster wipes out a swath of homes,
look how long the government waited. Look how long Biden waited to say anything about
they're in there
Hawaii.
Now.
What I was saying, if you look at that article, you see what I was talking about, the state insurer of last resort, Citizens Property Insurance, right? So exactly as I just said, right? You could read it. I know it's a lot. It's very complex. I wrote a Substack about this, and it was shared by President Trump a couple months ago. But this is a serious issue. We just had Farmers Insurance leave the state of Florida, abandoning Floridians in the middle of hurricane season. I mean, what are these people going to do? AAA also decided that they were not going to renew homeowner policies in the state of Florida.
I got to tell you, people
It's a
people
crisis.
have kept telling us to move to Texas or Florida. And the reason we went to West Virginia instead, well, I tell people like weather is a huge issue. I lived in Miami for a little bit, and that matters. It does.
Yeah.
I like Florida. I do. There's a lot of really, really great things about it. A lot of people are moving down there. But
But that's a
this
problem.
right here is a big issue.
That's a huge problem. And what you're seeing on the ground in Florida, it's a major retirement hub, right? So where I ran for Congress, the Villages, the largest retirement community in the entire country, the oldest district in the nation per capita. These are people on fixed incomes, okay? These are senior citizens on Social Security. And do you think that a senior citizen can afford, a $5,000, $6,000, and in some instances, we've even seen $25,000 increases in people's homeowner insurance rates? I know that sounds obscene, but the most egregious case I've seen thus far is an increase, and I know it's going to sound crazy, of $98,000 per year. An additional $98,000 per year on insurance. That is what's happening as a result of this insurance crisis in the state of Florida. So while all these rich, people from the East Coast are moving to Florida,